Warning, F-bombs are armed and may be dropped. All right. This is a video respectfully submitted because the speaker in the case that I'm responding to just doesn't know any better. And it's understandable. Aussies banned their guns like 30 years ago, so they don't have any experience with firearms. Firearm rules is always treat a firearm as if it was loaded, even when you know it is not. As you can see, this one cannot possibly be loaded, but we are going to assume that it is. Partially because the other guy wouldn't know if it is or not. All right. So, the exact circumstances that I'm responding to. Somebody was watching an episode of it's a chick series. I forgot. Wisteria Lane. I can always remember Wisteria Lane. There's some sort of big Tom Tut riot, catastrophe, war going on outside. One of the women comes out with a gun and fires it into the air. Bang. Okay. That was a big mistake. It was a warning shot. Never, ever fire a warning shot. First of all, if you fire it up into the air, theoretically, it's okay, right? Well, no. That bullet is going to go long, long, long ways away, and you have no idea where it's going to land. Right. Second version, this was during the stream, people were saying, oh, you can shoot it into the ground. Bang. No. Even if you know the dirt in question is soft, let's say it's sand, that bullet is still going to go somewhere. In theory, it would go into the sand and everything's fine, right? No, actually, it's not. First of all, it can ricochet off because you might just hit that 1 in a million spot where there is a rock. It's worse. You don't know what's buried there. Could be a rock, could be a gas line, could be an electricity line, could be a million things. You have no idea what might be buried there. Hell, you might just hit a methane pocket. That 1 in 10 million methane pocket that just happens to be 2 inches below the ground but doesn't have enough pressure to penetrate. It could happen, as absolutely ridiculously unlikely as that sounds even to me. Never ever fire a warning shot. You don't know if I've loaded this gun or not yet. Right. There is a time-honored tradition in maritime law that a shot across the bow is a warning shot. And under Datislav, the maritime law warning shot will remain in effect. There's also a rule in the military that a single shot from an overwatch is a warning shot. That rule will remain in effect. I don't like either one of those. A vessel that is moving, that is large enough to be moving in an area where a warning shot would be of any practical purpose, is also large enough to have a radio. And if they have a radio on board and they're not answering a hail to stop, chances are pretty good they never intended to, and a warning shot isn't going to get them to stop. Okay. It's the time-honored tradition of the sea, and I'm not going to rewrite that law. It's not even a practical option. As for the military rule, that's a very clear message. I intend to fire. One shot. I intend to fire. Most people are not aware of this, but Fixed Bayonets was in Bosnia when she was in the Marines. And there was this road that the ran alongside their base. Some Serbians were coming up the road one day. She fired the one warning shot. They unslung their AKs and began moving to the side of the road, and that's when she really opened fire. It took a few days to clarify, apparently, but at the end of the day, Serbians had to admit that, yeah, we fucked up. We thought we weren't going to get caught. Apparently, it's very, very early in American intervention, and the Serbians thought the Americans were going to be less likely to fight than the French and British had been, and well, they found out the hard way that that's not how it works. And it only cost them 50 of their men. Such is life. Outside of those two very narrow fields, there is never a reason to fire a warning shot. When a certain gentleman, and I'll only refer to him as, as JS, because I believe those were his initials, went rampaging through Clackamas Town Center with the intention of getting a high score, there was a certain gentleman by the name of Nick Melly up on the mess deck. He'd been there meeting some friend of his. I don't know the whole story there, and I don't care. He heard the shots. He drew his Glock 22 and met JS in more or less an open environment. JS saw Nick, turned for the ladder well, and he permanently ended the situation on his own. You know what I mean? A lot of leftists say this never really happened, even though there's security video, of Nick leaving Clackamas Town Center on that particular day, right next to a sheriff's deputy, because, well, he never fired, so how do we know? Well, yeah, that's not how it works either, Tim. Right? I believe Nick's story, and he never fired a warning shot. It's kind of ironic. If he had fired the warning shot, he would have proven he was there, but he would have also done the worst thing possible. He could have fired a warning shot into the overhead and maybe struck a gas line, or maybe struck an electrical line, or maybe both, and blown both of them to hell, and killed a lot of other people on top of it. He did exactly the right thing. He didn't fire the warning shot. Unfortunately, leftists use that to prove their case. Oh, good didn't stop anything. Yes, it did. It stopped everything right then and there. If you're going to take the shot, take the shot. Don't fire the warning shot. No warning shots. Another comment that came up during the stream was, fire a blank as a warning shot. There's a problem with that. Blanks don't cycle properly. Now you've got a gun that is possibly stovepiped, probably failed to eject or failed to cycle at all. It unlocked, so the cartridge is still stuck in the firing chamber, which means you got to drag that out of the way. That's a very bad situation to be in, isn't it? And you may fail to feed properly, which means you have a gun that's jammed in the open position with the hammer back or the pin lock back, and you can't clear the misfed round, or you can't clear it fast enough. No warning shots. All right, this is strictly from the carry school, the mandatory carry school of firearms handling. Again, okay, weapon must be clear. The weapon is in your holster. Touching the weapon is your declaration, this situation is not going the right direction, and I'm becoming concerned. Draw and low ready is your declaration, yes, I believe this situation has definitely gone the wrong direction. Present or aim is your declaration, not only do I think this guy, not only is this situation gone the wrong direction, but this guy that I'm now aiming at is my problem. Finger on the trigger is the moment when you have made the decision somebody's going to die today. Now you have to decide who. Finger on the trigger is almost the no going back moment. Excuse me. Now you have to decide when. You have now placed your finger on the trigger. This is the moment when you have decided, yes, I'm going to take the shot. And now you're waiting for the right moment, and you took your shot. Keep your finger off that trigger until you have made the decision that you will be shooting somebody. And it is this guy, and it will be today. There's an old saying in basic firearms safety classes that the shot should be as much a surprise to you as to anybody else. You being the shooter. You should be a little bit startled. And that is the real thing. I hope this is clear. Under all circumstances, without exception, no warning shots. For those of you in the military or maritime services, yeah, there's your exceptions. Okay, fine. I don't even like those. For 99% of you, there is no excuse for a warning shot. There is no need for a warning shot. Simply presenting or aiming should be your warning shot. The rest of you, keep calm, manage to carry on.